Alright, I know what you're about to say. You're about to comment down below and say, Zach, I saw the title, I saw the thumbnail, I'm about to tell you, this isn't based on a video game. I know this isn't a video game adaptation, but it doesn't mean that it's not one of the best video game movies ever made, because it is. It's truly poignant, charming, and absolutely entertaining. What's going on, buddy? Welcome back to a brand new non-spoiler review for Ryan Reynolds' brand new film, Free Guy. Once again starring the likes of Ryan Reynolds, Jodie Comer, Taika Waititi, and Joe Keery. I've been really excited for this movie because I just love the concept, and if you don't know me too well, I love video games. Besides talking movies, that's my second favorite thing to talk about, and in fact, a lot of my pastime, if it's not hanging out with family, friends, or my girlfriend, or even watching more movies, it's playing the hell out of a lot of video games. I'm so into this industry, and in fact, if I wasn't talking movies, I would absolutely be doing video game content a ton more on this channel. And you know, I sometimes do dabble in it a little bit over here, but for me, Free Guy was everything I could want and more, and it truly is. And like I said, this is a non-spoiler review because there are a lot of big surprises in here, especially in the third act, that none of you guys want to be spoiled by. So if you can, absolutely go see this first day because you will not regret it. But Free Guy is about a bank teller who discovers that he's actually an NPC, a non-playable character inside a brutal open world video game. Imagine Grand Theft Auto and you're just the coffee maker who finds out that, oh my god, everyone's trying to kill me and can do whatever they want to me. I mean, we've all played Grand Theft Auto, we've all killed random pedestrians and all done sorts of things like that. I mean, this is seriously will make you feel bad about ever doing that again. And if you can't tell by how excited I am, yeah, I was really excited for this movie, but at the same time I was nervous. I didn't know if this would turn out to be great or bad, because I've seen ideas like this go before in select movies that I don't want to get into because I think there are certain twists to other movies that I really don't want to spoil. One in particular, if you've seen a couple of my reviews from like 2 years ago, there's one that, dear God, the twist in it is based on a video game, and it's absolutely the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But in particular with that, Free Guy works in so many different realms, and it is truly one of the best video game movies ever for many different reasons. And one of the biggest things is how poignant it is within the video game industry right now. I think your enjoyment for this movie will actually dabble in quite a different things. If you're a giant person in the video game industry who loves everything video games, you're going to get a lot of the inside jokes, references, and even some of the layers that it really dives into. And if you're just someone who's maybe wanting to take the family to the movies, take your friends, you're absolutely going to have a blast and have such a hilarious and charming time. You won't get all the jokes, but you'll still have a good time. And then there's the group that I think is expecting a lot of great action set pieces and a really unique world and concept, something of the likes of Ready Player One. You aren't gonna get that. Yes, there's some great action set pieces in here that are very entertaining and fun, but it really much more is about the layered story here, and again, the poignant discussion on the video game industry right now. Still, the poignant discussions that this movie does have is something that I was not expecting, but it was delightfully surprised by, and I found that to be some of the best aspects of all of Free Guy. It's not even the negative aspects of the video game industry. One of the big things that I absolutely loved about this, and especially if you're attached to video games like I am, we've all played a game where we sat there and we're like, I love this character, or I've fallen in love with this character, and they actually bring that up in here in certain select ways that I actually like related to very hard. If you've ever played especially the Mass Effect games, which if I ever get a chance to talk about Mass Effect, I am absolutely going to talk about it because it's one of my favorite video game franchises of all time. But in that game, your character, you literally are the main character, and the friendships and bonds that you make throughout that game feel so realistic because of how well written and scripted they are. And Free Guy kind of dabbles in that a little bit, and I was shockingly surprised to, again, see that dynamic. And some people might find it a little bit weird in the movie if you're not, again, dabbling in video games, but for me, I loved that. Once again, the way that it dabbles in the negatives and the pros of the video game industry, the things that really much do that video game players play, and even some of the bad things that the industry does, like microtransactions, and even ways that they sell sequels to games, is so clever and so smart, and I just couldn't get enough of it. Even adding a little bit more into there, the thing that I also loved about Free Guy was just the performances. Ryan Reynolds, you know, besides Deadpool, which I love the original Deadpool, I think that movie's freaking amazing, He, for me, has always played, again, pretty much the same smart, wisecracking role. And especially lately after Deadpool, he has very much cemented that in here. He's not doing anything different while in this movie, but surprisingly, besides Deadpool, this is one of my favorite roles of his since The Proposal. Of course, Taika Waititi plays the main villain in here, and Taika is just owning this role and eating up every single moment. But flat out, and I'm seriously going to say this, Ryan Reynolds is usually the big star of all of his movies, and there's never someone that overtops him. Guys, in here there is one, and that is Jodie Comer, who absolutely, bar none, stole the entire film from every other person. She's hilarious, she's charming, she's badass, and she overall stuck out to me like the biggest sore thumb possible, but in a good way. I seriously want to rewatch this film because of her and her performance that she has given in here. I even go in fact to say that I think she was maybe even given some of the best material. She, in a sense, is actually really much the heart of this entire story and everything going around. And again, yeah, Ryan Reynolds is the main character, but she is the heart and soul of this entire movie, and their chemistry with one another is just delightful. I think Sean Levy just does such a good job of intersecting all these different realms. Again, the poignant discussion on video game industry, the charming, hilarious elements, all mixing it in together to make for such a fun family film, surprisingly enough, because there are jokes in here that kids won't get, but adults definitely will, and they will laugh their butt off. And when it comes down to kids, kids will get some jokes that adults won't get because they're not into the video game industry right now. The way that Levy is able to intersect that and bring it to life just was honestly just freaking awesome. When I say this, totally understand this. Free Guy is absolutely the Truman Show for this generation. And every kind of poignant discussion that the Truman Show had back in the day, which is still kind of relevant to today as well, Free Guy amps that up and brings it to life in such a classical way that years from now, a lot of us are really going to look back and be like, that was actually smarter than I think some of us understood. Of course, no film is perfect, and I do have one little bit of cons here. And this is where I go about to say it. I think, again, Ryan Reynolds, he made a lot of jokes not cringy, and he made it really work, and some of the other cast does as well. I will say, though, that there is a couple different elements from the video game industry that I think they played on a little bit too hard, and I'm trying to get away without being too vague, but also too spoilerish. There's just certain things that show up in here where I went and I was like, I didn't think that needed to be in here. Or, again, okay, you showed it once, that's fine, but showing it twice, 3, 4 more times, I'm like, all right, I get it. I get what you're trying to do. I get what you're trying to intersect in and maybe bring this other element in. And once or twice works, but 3 or 4 times, come on now. You see the movie, I think you're absolutely going to understand what I'm saying, but I'm trying to stay vague for the sake of not getting into spoilers. Other than that, Free Guy is truly the Truman Show for this generation. It's entertaining, it's poignant, it's hilarious, and it's absolutely delightful. I had the biggest smile on my face while watching this movie, and I think a lot of you guys are going to feel the exact same way. If you're huge into video games, this is right up your alley. If you're just looking for a great time at the theaters, you're going to get that. It's not as serious and dire, and even have some of the best action set pieces like Ready Player One, but even then, it didn't need to be. It's its own unique, original concept that I feel like borrows from certain things, but makes it its own thing. So with all that said, I'm going to give Free Guy a B+. Really one of the best video game movies ever created, and I think a lot of you guys will enjoy it as well. Make sure to comment down below. Let me know your guys' thoughts, as well as head on over to Samtron Films on how to see films early. And of course, it's a big thing to you and a big thing to my Patreon supporters, because without you, I would not be able to do this. So of course, until next time, stay classy.